I couldn't believe it. I was somewhat stunned. Well, it was weird because, like, straight up, well, I felt a massive relief because I felt like every time I thought about being on a plane, I felt quite bored, which is, you wouldn't think that's a really good thing to feel, but when you've been really terrified, I mean, even the thought of just thinking about it just makes your stomach turn upside down and you get bile roaring away in your stomach and, you know, the cold sweat. And just a feeling of mundane and boredom and indifference was a relief and something that I couldn't quite believe as well, particularly having such a negative association with it for so long. And that hit me straight away. I definitely felt, well, that's weird. I shouldn't be bored of this. It should be something that's terrifying. This has been something that's terrifying all this time. I kept looking at aeroplanes. Like if I'd be walking in the street and I'd see a plane go over, and I kept, like almost daring, like looking at it and being like, well, I'm not scared of you anymore. And then just seeing if it would hit me again. Like, will it happen now? Will I get that usual feeling, that dread in my stomach, you know, and kind of challenging these planes to kind of frighten me, which they kind of didn't, which kept confusing me for some period of time. And then I booked my tickets. It was bizarre because I've tried to book tickets in the past, and even just as getting as far as like the airline's website was enough for me to close the computer down. And it was bizarre. The whole process felt surreal because I've just had an association all this time. I should be finding this unpleasant. I was having a great time wandering around the airport, watched all the planes lined up, watching them taken off. Quite enjoyed watching it all. As soon as I got on the plane again, and I was sitting there and I was like, something should be happening. I should be, normally when you know, I've flown before and I'd be terrified. I'd have panic attacks, I'd be shaking, my heart would be going. I was actually excited. I was thrilled at the fact I was going on holiday. It's not something I do very often. Thrilled the fact I was going to China, and thrilled the fact that I was on a plane, and was absolutely excited about it. I was literally, my face was like up against the window, like just watching it happen and watching like us as we sort of ascend. I was willing the pilots, you know, go faster. It felt like I was on a ride. It was great. I was absolutely loving it, which is bizarre. I was taking photos, and normally I'll be, well, yeah, gripped to the seat, shaking and crying. Fascinating, absolutely brilliant. I mean, bear in mind it was an 11-hour flight, 10 hour there, 11 hours on the way back. And I had, the whole time I had the journey, the little thing that shows you whereabouts you are in the world. I had that on. People were like, did you watch any films? I was like, oh, I found it fascinating to find that, you know, you're over the Gobi Desert, or you're parallel with Islamabad, you know, and for somebody who's not really been around in the world before, I thought that was great. And, you know, you could see passing aeroplanes in the sky. And being at the airport coming back, just watching planes taking off, I thought it was great. Which is weird because now I see it as a fascinating feat of engineering, and whereas before I saw it as death traps, like defying gravity, you know, which I found horrendous. Three of my friends saw the video that we did when we filmed you treating me. And they said, like, yeah, it was great. Was it for real? Like, you know, was it actually real? I said, well, yes, you know, and it is almost unbelievable. But I think certainly my friend who I went to visit, and certainly my friends that know that I did go on holiday, well, they certainly are more believing now, because I never would have gone had I not had this fear removed. A lot of my friends have asked, what is it? Were you hypnotised? I was like, well, not really, because I was aware of everything the whole time. But it was bizarre because it's not an unpleasant feeling, and I think that's one that the reasons why I really love this type of treatment, because there's no, even though I'm going back in time, which, you know, there's a lot of associations with visiting your past, you know, you're just going back to a moment which isn't necessarily a massive moment in my life, but it was just obviously something that just caught in the back of it and has just kept it there and used it for, you know, things in future. So it's quite a sort of, well, it's quite quick. It's quite easy as well. I didn't have to do a lot really. And I don't know, it feels quite painless as well. You know, it's not an upsetting procedure, and particularly, you know, for the types of psychotherapy or, you know, psychological therapies, it's you know, a very pain-free way of sort of going and finding the root cause of you know, problems, fears, issues, and just kind of not even going on and on about them, or not, you know, investigating, exploring them, just being like, oh, okay, well, that's the reason. Changed. Done. It's quite, which I know it sounds kind of strange and weird to look at, but it kind of, it's a much more pleasant way of dealing with them, or getting rid of them. Having now flown completely free of that horrible, anxious feeling, I'd say, well, it's, you know, it's definitely something worth getting involved in, because, you know, I'd totally relaxed before going on holiday, and there and on the way back as well. Thank you, because not only can I fly, but I feel a lot more, it's weird, free. Like, I feel like I really want to see the rest of the world now. Like, there's no, you know, I want to go to, well, I don't really want to go to Disneyland, but, you know, in a one way, I wish I could go back to all those times when people would say, let's go to Berlin for the weekend, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of busy that weekend, I haven't got the money, can't do it, you know. So, yeah, and well, I'm trying to think of what else I've got that could probably be treated in a similar way.